Mourning her fate did not last long. As horrid as the situation was, Rebecca refused to sit and wallow in her fears. A woman of sense must act. She knew well enough by now, through her observations of the world and her extensive reading, that no person ever improved their lot in life by sitting in a corner and weeping. Her fate had been decided, but that didn't leave her helpless. The morning after her father's announcement, Rebecca woke early and went to her writing desk. With the early sunrise of August and a candle in the sconce above her desk, she wrote 3 letters. The letters went to her elder sisters, Julia, Christine, and the third to the Countess of Annesbury, her cousin Virginia, to whom she made a very bold request. That task completed, she set the letters aside and pulled forward smaller squares of paper. On these she wrote hasty invitations to her most connected London acquaintances, asking them to tea. She did not intend to confide in any of the young misses or the gentlemen she addressed the cards to, but she meant to gather information. If she could understand the manner of man she was about to marry, learn something of his character, it would help her plan her next steps. Rebecca lost her mother when she was but 11 years old, and it largely fell to her elder sisters to bring her up. But they spoke of Mrs. Devon often enough that Rebecca knew their mother had not allowed an arranged marriage to dampen her spirits. Perhaps Rebecca could follow her example. Rebecca passed the rest of the morning and early afternoon in impatient agitation. Aunt Jacqueline noted it.
"Rebecca, stop fidgeting. An elegant young woman about to become a viscountess ought to remain decorous, no matter the circumstances."
Her aunt had likely never been indecorous a single day in her life. In fact, Rebecca could not even imagine a circumstance in which such a thing could be possible. "Yes, aunt." Her response had become an ingrained habit after 2 years of correction. When she'd first come to live with her aunt in London, Rebecca described herself as an obedient, pleasant sort of person. Soon, she'd realized her ability to be pleasant in general came from never being confronted with someone who constantly criticized her. The more her aunt censured her, the more Rebecca bit her tongue against sharp retorts. Any assertion of independence she attempted, whether in choosing her own fabric for a gown or bringing a book home from the subscription library, had been met with disgust and squashed with her aunt's acidic tongue. If reports went back to her father of her inability to conform to Aunt Jacqueline's image of a proper young lady, the punishments were immediate and distressing.
"I will send Hetty to sit in the room during your gathering,"
her aunt said, taking in Rebecca's gaudy pink gown with pursed lips.
"We ought to have more items of that colour made up for your wedding trousseau."
"I will burn every stitch the moment I am free of you and your spy." Rebecca kept her expression bland and gave a slight nod. "If you think that is best, aunt." Aunt Jacqueline stood and swept out of the room in a regal manner. Would the Queen herself be subject to her aunt's criticism if she were present? Hetty appeared not more than 3 minutes later, and she took a basket of mending with her to the corner. Rebecca narrowed her eyes at the maid's seeming lack of attention. Voices echoed up the stairwell, alerting Rebecca to the first of her guests' arrival. Rebecca stood, fluffing out the ridiculous ruffles at the hem of her gown. Her aunt insisted on dressing her in unbecoming frills and puffs of fabric, despite Rebecca's taste for the simplest lines. Her guests came into the room, already talking and laughing, at ease with one another. 3 women her own age and a gentleman who was brother to one of them were soon settled in comfortable chairs. Taken separately, Rebecca could stand to pass an hour in their company. Having the group together, she usually had a headache after a quarter of an hour. She did not think there could be a more pompous, ridiculous gaggle of young people in London. The niceties of greetings and pouring out completed, Rebecca took her seat and folded her hands in her lap.